In anticipation for Scarlet and Violet, I bought Fuecoco! Don't ask how I got him though. 3 days. We are 3 days removed until the greatest Pokemon games of all time graces our lives and solves world peace itself. And after the multitude of trailers, announcements, and interviews, I think I can fully say with confidence that this will be the pinnacle of Pokemon. Better than Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Better than Platinum. Yes, even better than Pokemon Dash. There is no doubt in my mind that this game right here will be ruled as the king. Now, how could I be so sure, you might ask? It's not like my uncle works at Game Freak and knows all this information, right? Well, I can infer all of this, and you will as well after you watch this video. So this is the glass half full, and let's talk about why Pokemon Scarlet and Violet will be your new favorite Pokemon games. Now, for a lot of people, it could seem like Scarlet and Violet are gonna be nothing special. Just another new yearly Pokemon game that introduces us to some new mons and features that'll keep us occupied for a couple months or so. But I don't know, I feel like Gen 9 has a certain feel to it like no other game prior. And let me tell you why. These games are what Sword and Shield were supposed to be. Now, I already talked about this before in my last video, so I don't want to rehash my previous statements, but for a lot of Pokemon fans, Sword and Shield felt like it was going to be the next big step the series was going to take. New hardware and a new gen, it just got our expectations to be really high. The other big Nintendo IPs were hitting their stride, so now it's time for Pokemon. And when Sword and Shield didn't hit that stride, it was hard not to feel cheated on. And it was strange at that time too. As a big Pokemon fan, it got me to wonder if Game Freak just stopped caring. I mean, as the biggest grossing franchise ever, they could afford to be lazy. Yeah, they'll be criticized and will receive hate, but they won't give a shit if they're making money. And with Sword and Shield's absurd amount of sales, they didn't really need to do anything. And at that time, I kinda just thought, yeah, nothing's gonna change, is it? But now, over 3 years later, with Scarlet and Violet coming out soon, I think I finally cracked the code on what Game Freak was trying to do at that time. It took me a while to figure out, but I want you to bear with what I'm about to say, because it could very well be the most shocking thing you're ever gonna hear. Gotta clear my throat for this. Sword and Shield, and to an extent, Legends Arceus, were prototypes to Scarlet and Violet. Yes! Prototypes. Like these games right here, the one I'm pointing at, yeah, they're meant to be shit. Now, back in 2019, I'm just gonna say I don't think Game Freak was necessarily adjusted to the hardware of the Switch. Now, it's gonna sound off, I know, but think about that. Prior to 2019, they've been making games for the DS family since 2006. Oh, but the DS and 3DS are different consoles. And to that I say, no! They both have 2 screens, a D-pad, and a new Super Mario Bros. Game. They're basically the same thing. That's 12 years of essentially making games for the same console. And the same goes for the Game Boy family as well. Now, obviously, every gen has looked different from one another, but I think the jump in hardware was a bigger testament than people give it credit for. Like, Pokemon games went from a system that can run Paper Mario Sticker Star to a system that can run Doom Eternal. Granted, at a lower quality than other systems, but you get my point. And with the added bonus of fan expectations, Game Freak was in for a lot more than they wanted. But how about the Let's Go games? That was created by Game Freak and on the Switch. Well, shut up, it doesn't help prove my theory. Well, I assume that game was made to introduce Pokemon Go players to the mainline games, but to also help stall out time for Gen 8. So theoretically, these games should have had enough time in the oven before they came out, but Game Freak ain't the smartest. And they probably did not have enough people to work on both games simultaneously. Oh, what do I mean by that? Well, let me tell you some interesting facts I found out pretty recently because I was bored one night. Holy shit! Take all these developers who work on Nintendo games and look how many people work there. Like the people behind Kirby. We all love Kirby. Like, look at this Kirby plush I bought at FanCon a couple months ago. It was $60, but it has a funny mustache, so money does not matter. But anyways, HAL Laboratories have a good 202 employees working there, which is fair for a developer who primarily works on one series with a big release every 3 to 4 years. Or how about Monolith Soft, a company with 275 employees who work on just one series. Granted, a very hard to develop series, but they release a game every decade, so they're good. So then we come to Game Freak, who churn out a mainline Pokemon game every year or so. Meaning they should have a decent amount of people who work there. And they do. They have over 1,169 of them. Minus 1,000. Yep, that's it. Game Freak can somehow make a big-time Pokemon game every year while having less employees than companies who make games less frequently. Which makes me question, why don't they hire more employees to, you know, meet the demands of the highest grossing media franchise thing ever. But also, I just hope the people who work there are feeling alright. So with this tight schedule and the expectations, I feel like Sword and Shield were compromised from the start. And it's not like Game Freak can just delay these games because of how massive the series is. They have partnerships with the anime and the TCG who depend on the games to come out when they can. Sword and Shield had to come out on November 15th, 2019, no matter what. So where am I going with this? Why is this essential for Scarlet and Violet becoming the best Pokemon game in the series? And well, it's all because of headcanon. Please don't leave though, it's gonna make sense. My guess is that Game Freak used Sword and Shield as a test demo for the future of the series, making a Pokemon game but adding features that may or may not be fully fleshed out, but can dictate what fans may or may not like. And of course, I'm specifically talking about the wild area, a cool ass concept that everyone knows is the best part about the game, but is decently flawed. So now Game Freak sees the mountains of cash that Sword and Shield made them, but also knows, hey, we can do this better, or hey, why don't we try doing that? So now, knowing this information, we continue on to Legends Arceus, a game that fully takes the wild area and expands it entirely, making it the wild game. Fuck, that sounds really stupid. And this game definitely expanded on the ideas of Sword and Shield, but not too far. Everyone enjoyed catching Pokemon and the quality of life improvements, but also critique how bland the areas ended up looking. And I guess the graphics are pretty meh as well. And Game Freak again takes note of those issues and compliments and can now work on them for Scarlet and Violet, and it seems like it paid dividends. Like, dude, the more I see of this game, the more I think that Game Freak is just as excited as us to show off how far they've come ever since Sword and Shield. Could this just be the hype talking? Maybe, but let me have this. Alright, so everything from now on is going to be kind of incoherent, but just bear with me here because this game is going to be the reason why I will have no social life for the next couple months. First off, that box art though? That's probably the cleanest box art out of any Pokemon game. It sounds stupid, I get it, but the coloring and the yellow border around the Pokemon, it just makes it look so much more slick than any other one in the past. I'm gonna have a really good time looking at that box art before I play the game and never think about it ever again. And on that box art, the legendaries, cool as fuck, and might very well be one of my favorite pair of legendaries ever. Why, you may ask? Well, not only do they have such crisp, clean, and beautiful designs, but I love the past versus the future vibes they're obviously trying to convey. With Miraidon having some jetpacks for feet, and Koraidon just being a dinosaur, I guess. But that's not the only other reason, but also, these legendaries are constantly essential during the game. I mean, all of these cover legendaries are main plot points, but they only show up when the game is like 90% done. But what's cool about Koraidon and Miraidon is that these are your method of transportation, which may be stupid for some, but I absolutely love the idea of it. It's so goofy but genius at the same time, and I love that kind of thing. It also makes these legendaries have some actual character and role during the game, and not just some MacGuffin you catch with your Master Ball. Either way, I'm so down to use these mythical beasts while I ride around Paldea. Which, speaking of Paldea, I'm able to go anywhere with no restrictions at all? I really wonder how this is gonna turn out in the game. Like, will every area be the same skill-wise, or will some areas be harder than the rest? I just love the natural progression as well. Sword and Shield had one big area, Legends Arceus had multiple different areas but had to be accessed in a certain order, and now this game it's like, fuck it. Go anywhere. I don't care. It's your adventure. Well, I suppose it goes hand in hand with the story as well. Oh, sorry, no. The 3 stories, I guess. 3 different stories to tackle rather than just the gym challenge and kinda overruling a Pokemon cult. Which, speaking of, is there no evil team this time around and just students and gangs? Which I'm fine with. It just makes this game all the more different from past evil teams and their taking over the world kind of shenanigans. And I'm just gonna go out on a limb real quick, and it may just be the hype talking. I mean, that's mostly what the section has been so far, but the character and the Pokemon designs by far are the coolest we've ever seen from Game Freak. Like, legitimately, all of them have been bangers. The starters, amazing. I'm literally still having trouble choosing which one I should pick. Kind of. The legendaries, these armor dudes, see Titan, Cloth, Cyclizar, so cool and have so much personality in their designs. And even if there's some okay ones in the group, they are 100% redeemed by their name. Like, I first see this and I say, oh, that's a cool pig, I guess. I wonder what's gonna evolve into. Oh, and now you're my favorite thing of all time. And the characters, good God, we have Kinky Grass Dude, that one SpongeBob episode, VTuber Girl, and Chad himself. You don't get better than Chad himself. And he may or may not be the sole reason why I'm choosing Violet. Always good to see some regional forms as well. I really like all 2 that have been revealed. Wait, there's only 2? Wooper is awesome, and I can't wait to see what it evolves into, and Farigiraf gives Gen 2 more love and is really fun to say. Farigiraf. See, guys, I'm having so much fun. And I haven't seen much of the leaks just to go in as blind as possible, but that Dawn fan gives me a good idea of what it's supposed to represent, and goddamn, that is so fucking cool. If you're really curious, there's only 3 things I'm kinda iffy about, honestly. First off, and the biggest one, I'm not really sold on the whole idea of terrestrializing yet. Because all I'm seeing right now is a Pokemon getting shiny and having a fun hat on, and I don't know, it's just not working for me. But maybe it makes the meta a lot more fun. Second, I absolutely adore the idea of doing the gym challenge in any order you want, but apparently they're not scaled. Like, there's obvious stronger and weaker gym leaders, which kind of destroys the whole purpose of doing that. Maybe I'm wrong on this too, but that's what a lot of the reports are saying, which would just be a very weird inclusion by Game Freak. And third, man, I'm gonna miss dying. Like in Legends Arceus. That was honestly one of my favorite features ever in Pokemon, and it just adds such a cool fear factor when you play the game. So it actually really depresses me that feature is just gone now. It's not gonna destroy my experience, but I'm gonna miss it a lot. And also, Diglett's a penis now. Well, a new gen comes out very soon, and I may or may not be streaming the whole game. So if you're watching this video before the game comes out, check out the stream, it could be fun. And if you're watching this after the game comes out, you suck. It's good to know I can say that much about a game that's not even out yet that's meant for kids. Right, Glass? Yeah, you're right.